a.m. and you are wide awake. Your mind is racing. Your heart is pounding. Your palms are sweating. There's a very big meeting, a presentation, a test, or a dreaded conversation on the horizon. And you've imagined every possible worst-case scenario that could ever unfold, 10 times over. Anxiety has arrived, uninvited, as always. Does this sound familiar? Well, if it does, this means two things. One, you're human. And two, you're alive. Now, what if I told you that anxiety is not the enemy? What if I told you that anxiety could be your secret weapon? Now, I want to pause here and make sure that it's clear that there's a very big difference between the feeling of anxiety that we all feel from time to time and an anxiety disorder. A clinical anxiety disorder is persistent, debilitating, crippling to your everyday life and functioning. A clinical anxiety disorder requires professional treatment. That's not what I'm talking about today. What I'm talking about today is the kind of anxiety we all feel from time to time. The nerves before a big moment. The butterflies before a big performance. The kind that, if used just right, can actually help you. I remember the first time that I felt anxious. I was 7 years old, about to perform at my very first piano recital. I was dressed in a scratchy tulle dress and shiny shoes, which did not help my confidence. And I sat at that piano bench, hands shaking, heart pounding, convinced I was about to perform one of the great masterpieces of our century. Was I playing Beethoven or Mozart? No. I was playing Old MacDonald Had a Farm. But to me, it was the performance of a lifetime. And I felt that if I missed a single note, I was doomed, and I wanted to run away. But I didn't run away. I went up there, hands shaking at first, and I played my song, and despite my fear, I actually played it better than I ever had before. For years, I thought I had succeeded in spite of the anxiety. But now I realize I succeeded because of the anxiety. I've since felt that same anxiety before important medical school exams, before major career decisions, even before giving talks like this one. As a psychiatrist, I'm supposed to be the calm one in the room, right? But I've learned that anxiety is not a flaw or weakness. It's a signal. It's a surge of energy. It's a call to prepare, to focus, to perform. However, when most of us hear the word anxiety, that is what we think. Weakness, diagnosis, something to avoid or numb at all costs. People around us will tell us, just breathe, have a glass of wine, just relax. The message we're receiving is clear. Anxiety is bad, and we need to get rid of it. But the truth is, anxiety is just a feeling. It's universal. It's actually helpful. In fact, anxiety is a survival mechanism designed to protect us. It's hardwired into our DNA. It's the system that told our ancestors, there's a lion nearby, stay alert and protect yourself. Fast forward a few thousand years to modern life, and your brain is doing the exact same thing and telling you that meeting at work tomorrow It matters. Prepare, focus, perform. Same system, different jungle. So you see here, anxiety was never meant to paralyze you. It was meant to prime you. And it turns out that science agrees with what 7-year-old me experienced on that piano bench. There's actually a name for this. It's called the Yerkes-Dodson law. I know, it sounds like a high-profile law firm, but this one won't bill you. So the Yerkes-Dodson law is a scientific principle which shows that performance actually increases with increasing arousal or anxiety, but only up to a point. On the left-hand side of the curve, you have too little anxiety, and as a result, performance does not reach its peak. At this point, you're bored, unmotivated. You're binge watching Netflix the night before a big exam. On the right-hand side, you have the opposite problem. Too much anxiety, which leads to a decline in performance. At this point, you're overwhelmed, you're paralyzed. You're unable to even start the task. But right here in the middle is the sweet spot. This is where your brain is sharpest, your motivation is highest, and this is where you rise to the occasion. This is where anxiety becomes a performance enhancer. Just like a cup of coffee. 1 cup, you're alert and focused. 5 cups, and you're shaking and questioning your life choices. So you see here, the goal is not no anxiety. The goal is just enough. In fact, at the right dose, anxiety can make you better. Let me show you how. So the first way that anxiety can help us is through improved concentration. We've all been that student cramming the night before a big exam or trying to finish a project at the last minute. The experience of anxiety leads to a release of adrenaline and other hormones that prepare the body for action. It also helps give us the physical stamina we need to achieve our goals. It's why your favorite athlete could hit the game-winning shot at the buzzer, or why a student can pull an all-nighter and write the best paper of their life. The second way that anxiety can help us is through improved motivation. Whenever I ask my patients, what would you be doing right now if you weren't anxious about this? And the 2 most common answers I hear are 1, I'm not sure, and 2, nothing. And the truth is, without anxiety, most of us would procrastinate indefinitely. But when you are anxious about that presentation, that test, that deadline, you don't just sit back and hope for the best. You study harder, you rehearse more, you plan and prepare. Anxiety acts as our built-in motivational system, telling us to do our best and put our best foot forward. Anxiety helps guide the planning and effort that leads to success. The third way that anxiety can help us is through emotional insight. Think back to the last time you were anxious and think about what you were worried about. I can guarantee that you were worried about something that matters to you. Whether you're worried about your health, your career, your relationships, your reputation, it's because those things matter to you and have value. Anxiety can be a compass showing us what matters most to us. Do you feel anxious around a certain person or in a certain situation that seems unusual? Perhaps it's your instinct trying to protect you, and you need to look deeper into this. Instead of asking, why am I anxious? Ask yourself, What is my anxiety trying to show me? And the fourth way that anxiety can help us is through emotional empathy. Those who experience anxiety have higher levels of empathy for others, and research backs this up. Studies have found that those with higher levels of anxiety are more tuned to subtle emotional cues in others, such as microexpressions of sadness or fear. It's why a friend who's experienced anxiety in their own life can offer not just advice, but also understanding. Or why a teacher who's experienced social anxiety can recognize the same emotion in a struggling student and reassure them better than anyone else can. So, do you know how to take this wired uncomfortable energy and make it work for you? Here are 4 steps to turn anxiety into your superpower. Step 1, name it. When anxiety shows up, the first step is surprisingly simple. Say it out loud. I'm anxious. It sounds almost too easy, but there's science behind this. Studies have found that naming your anxiety and naming your emotions, which is a process called affective labeling, helps calm the part of the brain responsible for fear and activates the part of the brain responsible for problem solving. In other words, naming your anxiety helps you manage it. Step 2, channel it. Anxiety is a type of energy, and who doesn't need more energy? I know I do. While anxiety can feel like nervous energy, it's actually activation energy. Your body is preparing for action. So instead of trying to numb it, distract from it, or avoid it, use it. Lean into it. Can't sit still thinking about that deadline? Open up your laptop and make an outline. Can't stop thinking about that presentation? Say it out loud and rehearse. Use that energy to prepare, plan, and take action. You'll be amazed at how much calmer you feel once you start moving towards action. Step 3, reframe it. The language we use matters. The words we use shapes our experience. Try this. Instead of saying, I'm stressed, say, I'm energized for this challenge. Instead of saying, I'm panicking, say, I'm excited about this opportunity. This is not just positive thinking. Studies have found that reframing anxiety as excitement helps reduce fear and improves performance. The difference is the story you tell yourself. Reframing anxiety as excitement changes the way your brain and body interpret the signal. And step 4, use it to grow. Think of anybody you admire. Your favorite athlete, singer, entrepreneur. Here's a secret. They've all felt anxious before important moments. But they didn't let it work against them, and in fact, used it to their advantage. The singer Adele, for example, has talked about the intense stage fright or anxiety she feels before getting on stage every night. But she doesn't freeze or run away. And in fact, uses that energy to get on stage and deliver an electrifying performance. In your own life, anxious moments can be an opportunity to push yourself out of your comfort zone and grow. We all feel anxious before important moments. And the difference between those who freeze and those who rise to the occasion is not that one group does not feel anxious. It's that one group uses the anxiety to push them forward instead of letting it hold them back. Anxiety is part of every success story, and you too can use it to be part of your success story. So, what if the anxiety you feel is not a flaw to fix, but actually a feature to harness? The anxiety you feel does not mean that something is wrong with you, but actually that something important is happening to you. I still remember that piano recital like it was yesterday. 7-year-old me trembling with fear and doubt. But the shaking hands, the pounding heart, the anxiety, they didn't stop me. They focused me. They prepared me. They mattered because the performance mattered. So here's my invitation to you. The next time that anxiety shows up, whether it's at 1 a.m. when you're trying to sleep, or before that big presentation, that test, that deadline, when anxiety shows up, don't shut the door on it. Invite it in, listen to it, and most importantly, use it. Anxiety doesn't have to be your flaw or your weakness. Maybe it's your compass, your fuel, your superpower. And maybe, just maybe, it's pointing you towards the stage where you are meant to play.